Hello, I'm Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is possibly the greatest living inventor!
Die! What the?
It's hard to think that just a few short years ago, the common consensus was that The Simpsons was far past its prime, and it had done just so much that not only would it never be good again, but it'd never be interesting again either. It was more or less the definition of a zombie franchise, walking through seasons numbering so high, it felt like a joke on The Simpsons. Yeah, that show has been going on so long, it's got 30 seasons! Isn't that number exaggerated and hilarious? It felt ridiculous to predict that this show would have a second wind eventually. Those felt very rare at the time. The 2010s was defined by the franchise that never seemed to end, in like every single medium. SpongeBob and Family Guy and Simpsons were common shows to be pointed at. The Marvel films and shows continued to play despite their diminishing returns. And through all the wind and rain, we were sure to get at least one new Call of Duty per year. Then something very strange happened. SpongeBob got its second wind, but the circumstances around that were strange and unique. The original creator had returned, and as the old saying goes, only the creator does it right. But more and more, I'm seeing that what happened with SpongeBob wasn't just a fluke. Fairly Odd Parents got a breath of new life with a new wish. And even The Simpsons, the definition of the show that's run on too long, has gotten into what many people call its silver age. Ever since season 33, the show has been getting a lot more experimental, finding its footing in a modern era. For the first time in my entire adult life, I've been hearing buzz about particular episodes, beyond those random lightning-in-a-bottle ideas like Halloween of Horror or Brick Like Me. The episodes from season 33 and beyond that people seem to laud have their names come up again and again. Pixelated and Afraid, My Life is a Vlog, Carl Carlson Rides Again, and more recently, Bart's Birthday. All of these I've personally seen, and I can honestly say that I am impressed with how The Simpsons managed to correct itself out of complacency. Not every new episode is a masterpiece, obviously, and I don't think I'm ever going to think of a modern Simpsons season as higher than like season 6, for instance. But I really do have to say, good job, guys. I really have to hand it to you with how you've been handling the show lately. And I would be talking about any of those episodes if I didn't know what paid the bills here. So let's talk about the Elon Musk Simpsons episode.
I don't care about the money. The whole monetary system is just a series of interconnected heterogeneous databases.
When it comes to the worst episode of a particular show, generally you have a common consensus, or a few specific candidates. SpongeBob has The Splinter, One Course Meal, or Truth or Square. Family Guy has Life of Brian, Not All Dogs Go to Heaven, and You Can't Handle the Booth. However, when it comes to Simpsons, while you'll get your Principal and your Poppers and your Boys of Bummers, every fan's entire list is going to be completely different, depending on who you ask. It really depends on what that specific person values or detests in a Simpsons episode. If you most care about the continuity, you're gonna hate that 90s show more than anything else. But if you hate their propensity to celebrity worship, your go-to worst episode is Lisa Goes Gaga. Or at least, that was the go-to episode. Now it might be this one. Season 26's The Musk Who Fell to Earth premiered literally a decade ago. And let's just say, this episode plays out vastly different 10 years on. This episode guest stars Elon Musk, and it's all about him. And if you've been living under a rock, richest man on Earth, Elon Musk, has taken a battering to his reputation for a very, very many reasons that I can only scratch the surface of in a video like this. What can I say about him? Let's see, he's the kind of guy who is so sensitive to criticism that he literally bought a speech platform. And whether this was the intention or not, the effect is that you can't criticize Elon Musk or his own beliefs on that platform without getting hit by some sort of censorship. Elon Musk has become known for quite a lot over the past decade. He'd argue that he's pushing scientific progress by wasting a ton of money and energy and causing a ton of pollution to put one of his unrendered cars in outer space for no reason. Seriously, what the fuck was the point of the Tesla in space thing? Then again, maybe he is pushing scientific progress, because we now have scientific proof, beyond a reasonable doubt, that yes, money does indeed buy elections in the United States, as he was one of the biggest donors of the Trump campaign. On a more minor note, he renamed Twitter X for no reason. He also named his kid whatever the hell this is, which should be considered child abuse, because I consider it child abuse. He called a guy running a rescue operation a predator. Like I said, he's known for a lot.
Dad, no! Elon Musk is possibly the greatest living inventor!
Or that, I guess. Some people would certainly think that. As for me, I'm the kind of person who thinks that Elon Musk is so stupid that he believes that this episode predicted his acquisition of Twitter. Because in the Elon Musk Simpsons episode, the birdhouse has a sign that says, "Home Tweet Home." I think that about Elon Musk because I think factual things. Then again, maybe this episode does have predictive powers. This episode starts with the family assaulting and trying to eat a bald eagle. And this average American family does what it can to try and heal it, before Elon Musk just drops in from outer space and chars the bird extra crispy. So yeah, there actually might be predictive powers in this episode. I wonder what Elon has to say about that part. I mean, he would have to see it, he guest starred in this episode. On that note, can it really be considered predictive if you're working behind the scenes and something happens that you do later on? The go-to example is the President Trump thing. The Simpsons had no way of knowing that Trump would actually be president when that happened. Elon Musk was in the studio when this episode was being made. If you have to ask me, the worst habit The Simpsons has ever had was its celebrity worship.
Are you skateboarding legend Tony Hawk?
I find it much worse than the bad status quo changes, or the continuity snaggles, or a character just acting really unlikable for an episode. The first episode that I ever reviewed was Lisa Goes Gaga, after all, above something like The Principal and the Pauper or Saddlesore Galactica. That episode does technically criticize Lady Gaga.
Why is everyone looking at my purple hair full of bluebirds?
But it very much builds up her persona and builds her up as a person. I didn't make that very clear back in 2014 because, I was less than a year in and I didn't know what I was doing and my taste in media was unrefined and I was an idiot. There is a difference between a celebrity appearance and even having a guest star role and a celebrity worship episode. Stark Raving Dad is a good example of the former. It definitely builds up Michael as a persona, but it seems it does it a lot more than it actually does in the modern age. You have to remember that when that episode was made, Michael Jackson was legitimately the biggest thing in music, or close to it. He wasn't 80s Michael, but he was still Michael, and how it's portrayed in the episode was generally how people reacted to him. Even beyond that, the episode did clown around with him. They didn't portray actual Michael Jackson. He guest starred as a person who thought that he was Michael Jackson, but wasn't actually the real Michael Jackson. Contrast that to Lisa Goes Gaga, which is a celebrity worship episode. In that episode, she's portrayed as this towering, larger-than-life figure, bigger than Michael Jackson could ever hope to be. Personally, I like Lady Gaga, and I respect her as an artist quite a lot. Pretty much every single one of her hits I found amazing, and what I'm about to say might be sacrilege, but she's not Michael Jackson. Not yet, at least. Michael Jackson literally changed the course of music, similar in a way to the Beatles. Lisa Goes Gaga did have one quick quip towards Lady Gaga, but beyond that, the harshest criticism it had against her was that she wore quirky outfits. Celebrity portrayal versus celebrity worship. And I'll admit the temptation to suck up to Lady Gaga in 2012. In 2012, she was the biggest thing on Earth. In 2013, she followed up being the biggest thing on Earth by collaborating with R. Kelly, who had a ton of allegations against him even back then.
I can't emphasize this enough. Do not let R. Kelly do what he wants with your body. Because he pees on people is where I'm going with this.
It's the reason why the Lady Gaga collab was his first hit in over a decade. Celebrities are people. Every famous person that you know, whether they be an artist, politician, inventor, whatever, they all have a dark side and skeletons in their closet, just as the regular normies do. The lesson is, be careful if you want to be in the cult of the cool kids. Those cool kids go through arcs of their own and they change with the seasons. Where you are in life is not where you'll always be in life. On the flip side, art is forever. You can lock it in a tin, bury it in your vaults, ban it. But people will still remember what you did, what you created, and what you said. No one will ever forget that liberal Lisa Simpson called Elon Musk, who you could argue was the direct cause of Trump's re-election, called Elon Musk the greatest living inventor, or that Smithers said that he revolutionized cars.
That's so sad. Maybe we're the same. Two lost ships in the intellectual sea.
Yes, Lisa Simpson, you and Elon Musk are exactly the same. 100% clones of each other. I'm glad that you're so happy with that news. If that's next year's Treehouse of Horror, by the way, remember that I came up with it first and I demand royalties.
But I don't talk to anyone unless they provide the mental stimulation I seek.
So explain, Donald Trump, Elon. Where's that cheering coming from?
You have won a trophy.
Oh. So anyway, this episode is about Elon Musk being in a creative rut with no ideas of his own, which I don't know how that's a plot, that's just Elon's life. The plot gets going when Elon starts turning Homer's ideas into ideas. If you're not familiar with the Simpsons backstory, this is what killed the company of Homer's half-brother Herb. But this actually works here in this episode because the writers really liked Elon Musk, and they wanted him to know that, and they didn't want to say anything bad about him or have anything bad happen to him in the episode. Unless you want to count Mr. Environmental wasting all of that notepaper.
Sorry, that's something I'm working on so that I don't have to display facial expressions.
Strange, I thought that sociopaths tried to do the opposite of that. Look, I'm not about to be cordial with a man who calls a cave explorer trying to save children a pee-doo guy, because that explorer didn't want to use his submarine in a cave rescue.
I don't care about the money. The whole monetary system is just a series of interconnected heterogeneous databases.
Says the man currently controlling our economy. I am so getting sued for this video.
Wow, Elon, you're like Willy Wonka without the underpaid munchkins.
Which one of Elon's companies is currently in a class action lawsuit for potentially using child labor? Tesla? Right, Tesla. This is a nitpick, but the jokes in the episode aren't funny. Every time that Elon gets an idea, there's this musical cue.
31.
And they do it like a billion times. And it feels like I'm watching season 8 of Fairly Odd Parents on crack. They do it so many times.
Come on, give me a hug.
Sorry, I'm not one for hugging.
Yeah, he uses his arms for, other purposes, I'm sure. Look, the fact that I could get demonetized for putting what he did in this video proves that he did what he did, whatever the ADL says. The episode goes to show that Elon has so many ideas they can save everything.
The Springfield Hyperloop.
I remember the Hyperloop. Went defunct in 2023. Also, last time Springfield chilled out for public transit system, it didn't go so well.
I don't trust Musk. Anyone with that much money has a darkness in his soul.
Did I ever tell you guys my Simpsons theory that Smithers is the smartest man in Springfield? So, in the next part of the episode, nothing happens. Elon Musk buys self-driving cars for everyone, and I like SpongeBob's self-driving cars jokes better. Look at this. Bart wants to have some kind of fun, and Lisa says this.
Disable auto drive. You'll never guess Elon Musk's master password.
So, you're telling me that Elon Musk has the password to control everyone's vehicles, and he's the only one in town that can restore a vehicle to manual control. Well, that's a dystopian fuckword. And then we have the weirdest Simpsons joke that I've ever seen in my life. Bart looks at the Hyperloop, then he looks at Cletus, then he looks at the power plant, and he just stops. Literally, what's the punchline? That he didn't hit anything? I've seen screw the audience jokes on The Simpsons before.
People don't realize that these cannons are very sensitive, and the slightest jolt could set them off. Of course, for safety reasons, we don't keep the cannon loaded.
And this doesn't feel like one of those. It feels like they legitimately just didn't finish writing the joke. And then the auto cars thing is just entirely dropped from the entire episode. It's not even mentioned again, because Elon Musk crashes the Springfield economy.
Now the rates are falling, here the trades are calling.
Time will tell if The Simpsons is predictive on that one too. Nervous laughter. Seriously, check back in 6 months. I guess to be as fair as I can, the episode does throw criticisms at Musk, since, he crashes the economy. But the episode goes to great lengths to portray him having these big ideas and big ideals that are just impractical at our time now. Well, that's, not who Musk is, putting it lightly.
Not a trick. We sacrifice now to take care of the future, in a way totally determined by me.
I should really remake that video about the environmental PSAs thing, shouldn't I?
Your so-called savior isn't interested in saving anything but the world.
Burn Z, I think your power plant gave you brain cancer. So anyway, Springfield is in the Great Depression now.
My final invention, a pill that removes all grief.
I don't think that one will go so well, dude.
It's Elon. I don't care how much he likes me, I don't want to be friends with him anymore.
All you gotta say, Matt and Trey, 30 seconds, one tweet, and you're good. If Homer could do it, you can too. So now I have to describe what happens in the rest of the episode without Secret Service showing up at my door. Again. So, Mr. Burns is so angry that Elon Musk crashed the economy, he calls up the Mario brothers to fix his plumbing. Or one of them anyway. The job is so graphic that I can't put it on screen, for reasons. Showing plumbing can get you in big trouble on the internet right now. The Mario brother fails to fix Burns' plumbing. In the end, it's a pointless scene because the plumbing does nothing to the plot. Homer was going to break up with Elon, his words not mine, before the plumbing disaster. And then he does so after the plumbing disaster. This is not how a plot works.
It's that this town isn't ready for you. Neither am I.
Yeah, that's Elon Musk's biggest issue, time. Actually, maybe it's just the name. That name stinks. Literally. Hashtag, Musk is a penetrating, persistent odor. Think I'll try to buy Webster's if we can get that trending?
Mr. Musk, before you go, is there anything you could do to give a little girl hope that the world of the future won't be as grim as all our current movies forecast?
There's myriad wild and wonderful ways to say no.
No.
No. No.
I am the Box Ghost! You cannot hold me! That's weird.
Is Elon playing Tapped Out? R.I.P. Hashtag Elon Tapped Out. The episode then ends with David Bowie's Starman, just like some other space junk I know. Can we please stop associating this song with terrible animated garbage? The song does not deserve it. Besides, I know a more fitting Bowie song for this episode anyway.
He's got no style, he's got no grace, he's banal and facile, he's a fat waste of space, yeah.